Riverbend. It's 9:22 right here on this 8th day of March. It's our daily show. I'm CJ Nasello. Karen Lintz, Steve Thompson, United Way right in front of me today. How are you guys doing? Are you dry, wet, raining?
Right. Yes. Yeah, not bad. I mean, it was a little rain.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you, a little snow, a few snowflakes mixed in, but all good.
I'm glad I got my ice melt out, you know. So this is really great. Anytime we get to talk about United Way, I love doing it because what a great organization. And right off the bat, Steve, I got to ask you, how many organizations are you a part of in town? You're a part of a lot. It's really great.
Yeah, just a few. Been involved with the United Way about 6 years. I was kind of looking back to kind of say, gosh, how long I've been involved. And when I say involved in the United Way for 6 years, I'm really talking about being on the board.
Wow.
My connection to United Way goes back really over 30 years. Believe it or not, and just from a giving standpoint,
yeah.
Right, a financial support standpoint, always been thought the organization is a good organization, a very efficient way, right? If you're looking to contribute,
right,
to touch a lot of different agencies.
Absolutely. So. And Karen, you just transitioned into a new role over here as well. I like the way we're starting this off. I love it. So you're the new director of the Illinois region, correct?
I am.
And now, how does that feel for you? I mean, that's a nice responsibility right there.
Yes, it's so exciting to be here with you today, CJ, and it's so exciting to be working for the United Way. Like you said, in January, I took on the new role of the Illinois director of the Illinois region. But for me, it's a little bit of coming back home because I was born and raised in the Edwardsville area.
Oh, cool! And
so now I have the exciting job of serving this community once again in the whole Riverbend area. But my time spent with United Way isn't just starting in January. I actually worked as a part of the resource development department, raising funds for United Way of Greater St. Louis since 2019. So have been really excited to be a part of such a wonderful organization.
That's great. And so how many, so you guys have had the opportunity to work together quite a bit throughout the years with the board stuff. Huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was going to say, right, to your point, Karen, it's one of her things. She talked about working for one of the organizations that United Way supported prior to. So really kind of a long-term connection, right? Kind of came. Yeah. And the great thing, CJ, is that really Karen, right, brings that unique perspective.
Right.
That a lot of the agencies that we support don't see,
true.
right?
Right.
She's been on that side of the table. So she comes, as she's on the United Way side, really looking through a different lens.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, and that's a huge asset to have.
Absolutely.
I mean, really is.
Yeah.
And so, Karen, take us through a little bit of your new role now. So, I mean, I know that it deals with like building community relationships and so much more. Give us an overview if you could.
Great. And just to go a little bit into what Steve was talking about first, my background also includes working for one of the safety net agencies that the United Way supports, the YMCA. So that's the lens that I was able to bring, kind of seeing that side, an agency side, as well as the United Way side. But yes, in my new role, I'm so excited to be building relationships with the United Way in the community in the Riverbend area.
Absolutely. We're already getting texts. They said, hey, Steve, hey, Karen from the 618. Appreciate that. If you have any questions, weigh in. But, you know, it really seems to me, because the United Way is a great organization that, you know, expands, you know, past us. But it seems like here in the greater St. Louis region, right here in the, you know, Southwest Illinois region, or so, you know, it's very strong. You know, and there's a lot of different organizations from corporate levels to private entities and small business that is really supporting the United Way's mission, and it's got to be something to really be excited about.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's one of those things, as CJ, you may or may not know, but the United Way of Greater St. Louis just celebrated their 100th anniversary.
I saw that.
In 2022.
I'm almost that old.
Yeah. So yeah, 100 years of really just you know what, helping people live their best lives. It's one of those things as I was preparing for this, right?
Right.
Just kind of looking back historically, I think the United Way movement overall started in 1880.
Oh, yeah.
1887, way back in the day.
Wow.
And then 1922 here in St. Louis, and I think it was originally called the Community Fund.
Yes.
See, Karen's grading me on my.
She was ready. She was
very good.
Okay, how long did that take him?
Did he get that right? Yeah. So I'm really developing in this role. CJ.
There you go. I can see it. Well, a number that I think is staggering to me is the number $3 billion. And I mean, that's about over the past century, United Way raising and investing nearly $3 billion into hundreds of non-for-profits in non-for-profit. I can normally talk. That's what I get paid to do. And programs that strengthen our region. But take us through some of the companies, some of the foundations, organizations that you guys work with and collaborate with and help.
Yes.
You want to go for it? You want to start, and I'll tag team in?
Happy to talk that through. So United Way of Greater St. Louis supports the bi-state area and serves our 9 counties in Illinois. And these counties include Calhoun, Clinton, Greene, Jersey, Macoupin, Madison, Monroe, Randolph, and St. Clair. And so what we do is we provide vital funding to more than 160 nonprofit partner agencies that have so many needs. And so, and these needs continue to grow. So what we do is instead of focusing on one specific need or issue, we support hundreds of issues to help the community as a whole.
That's incredible. I mean, that's the video game numbers is what I call that, because those are something we could only, imagine. I mean, working with these organizations, you've got to have some really great, just stories of people saying, hey, Steve, hey, Karen, this really did benefit us. Can you share a story? I hate to throw you on the spot like this, but I really think it's important to highlight.
You want to go?
You can to share what's
I love
near
the
to your heart.
I just want to point out I love the teamwork here, because normally I have on 2 people at a time and they start like bashing it out. Who's talking first? I love this. This is so awesome. I think it's great. I normally play in referee in this mode. This is great.
No, and it's one of those things. I guess one of the stories, CJ, is that kind of locally here, right? Some organizations we know: Riverbend Head Start, Senior Services Plus. Another organization that's near and dear to our heart and near and dear to my heart because I once served on the board is the Boys and Girls Club of Albany.
Great organization.
Yeah, and here recently, gosh, it's been a few months back, I guess, they had their annual dinner, their Pennies and Ties event, right?
Absolutely.
Familiar with that, right?
Yeah, in November, in the tennis shoes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually, United Way was recognized at that dinner by Al Womack, and he spoke and probably much better than I do spoke about the importance of that. Partnership with the United Way. They do great work, and that it kind of fits into one of those things, right? Helping children in situations live their best possible life.
Well, and absolutely, and it's all, to me, it's even more than that, Steve. And with your work and just Riverbend CEO and helping me when I was first getting started here, and so there's the guy to blame. But no,
was this what we talked about back then? We talked about delivering, but I'm not sure in this format.
Just delivering a message now,
There you
But
go.
the good thing about this is it's what you guys do is really, it was with the collaborations with the Boys and Girls Club. It's not just supporting, it's that long term too. It's giving that child the opportunity to want to live back in this community, not go away, and just reinvest and start their own business, start a family, and just live right here in the community and be a part of it. And that to me is the most crucial part.
Absolutely.
And so I didn't realize, because I hate to tell you guys this, I ain't no Walter Cronkite. I didn't know that there were, different avenues and branches of United Way, like United Way 211. Can you talk a little bit more about that, if you could?
Yeah, it's so happy to. And it's so exciting to talk about United Way 211 to start things off, because it's such a easy way to connect to these agencies whenever someone needs something, anything.
Yeah.
And we can get connected to United Way 211 just by picking up your cell phone or your landline and calling 211. And what 211 is a 24/7 helpline and navigation center that connects people to resources to support them locally. And it's completely free and confidential.
So just so I can add a little bit more, so when we say resources, what are some of the avenues we can get connected with? Is it a gauntlet or plethora of different different programs and
Yeah.
services?
So a lot of the agencies that we're connected with and we fund, you can get connected right there to everything that they offer. And
Wow.
the agencies served are 5 impact areas for, if you're in need of housing assistance, food access to food, early childhood and mentoring, youth mentoring programs, senior services, and a big one recently that 211 has received a lot of calls about is mental health resources.
Oh, absolutely.
as well.
And to me, we can't talk mental health resources enough. I think more we can highlight those. It can, you never need to know them until you need to know them, and another thing I wanted to ask, and it's a big part of United Way, is the volunteering aspect of it. I assume that both of you guys, did you guys start as volunteers or did you hop in as board member role? Because remember started off a little bit. I didn't know if you were just, supporting or if, Steve, if you were volunteering also before the board member role?
Yeah, really, probably unique in my particular situation. Had financially supported in a long way or for a long period of time, but really never volunteered on an allocations committee and those types of things. I suspect, and Karen can speak to this a little bit more, but most people before they come to the board have some sort of other volunteer role, as you kind of talk about. But no, it was one of those things that I think just believing in the mission, supporting United Way for a long period of time, my connection to some of the organizations that United Way support is what why they asked me to join the board, I guess.
Well, and I think that you're really good at your role. Everything you do in the community organization, seriously, you do a great job with. And Karen, I got to ask you about now this United Way's Volunteer Center. So is this this seems to me like a hub for, just resources for people that want to support this cause.
Absolutely. And it's a way our volunteer center is actually celebrating their 90th year.
Wow, so there we go.
So they started in 1933 by 2 women. And really what the volunteer center does is help people connect to do just what you're talking about. And our volunteer center is so impactful where we have a website that everyone can access, and that's stlvolunteer.org. So if you're an individual, if you're a place of business that wants to bring a group and wants to get involved, you can go on that website and just choose what direction you want to go and how you want to get involved.
You guys are pulling out all the stops with this. I mean, I love it. It's a facet that really incorporates every part of the United Way structure, whether it's volunteering, being a board member, or being one of the individuals that it supports or the organization. And so I got to ask you, so it's not only to me that volunteers have, benefits for the community or the agency they're working with, but I've heard that there's actually some pretty good, feelings after they started that process. Can you share those with me a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah. We've heard so many wonderful things, while we're doing the volunteer activities, but then also afterwards. And it's not only from the agencies that have benefited from these volunteers coming in and serving, but also from the volunteers themselves. And some of the things that they've talked about, the feelings that they've had, is that they reported that they're more satisfied with their own lives by serving. That's raised their overall health and they feel better. And they've also we've talked about a little bit about mental health. By serving, they've actually benefited with their mental health.
Well, and that's what's so fascinating to me, and just something that intrigues me, is that more and more that people volunteer and support or just do different things to help different organizations, it seems like they really are better off overall personally than they were before it started. Right. It's really fascinating, and a big part of United Way is Community Christmas. It kicks off in October, and by the way, we said 10 minutes, 15.
Yeah.
I think we're rolling into 20 here. I'm having some fun doing this. I really do enjoy this. Take us through Community Christmas. How long of a process does it take to get all of this put together?
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to touch on it just a little bit, okay, and then let Karen wrap it up for us. And you kind of talk about it. It's starting in October. It really starts in July. That's okay. Starts in July, and you're going, I know what July means, right? July is the Freer Auto Body, Lily and Taylor Freer.
They do an amazing job.
Christmas in July.
Amazing job.
They really, really do. They're just so supportive of the community. And as I was mentioning to Karen before we came on air this morning, I said, when we talk about Community Christmas, we need to make sure that we talk about the Freers because they devote so much time and energy to this particular process. So it really kicks off in July. Mm-hmm. And then there's a kind of a more widespread community effort that starts in October that I'm going to pass the torch to Karen and let her fill in the rest.
Please do. But before we even go into anything else, Karen, I do think it's great to highlight the Freers because there's so many organizations and businesses that support your guys' mission and support community, involvement. But Community Christmas is something the Freers just shine at. Every July, I see the Facebook posts, and from October to December, it's all about United Way, and it's got to make you guys feel great about it.
It sure does. And so what happens after we kick off things in October, we work here in the Riverbend area with partnering businesses, churches, schools, organizations, and we collect not only monetary gifts, but also items.
Right.
And some of the wonderful things that are really needed during that time and throughout all the whole year is blankets, household items, new coats and other clothing items, and then the normal toys for kids of all ages, as well as baby formula and diapers, new socks, all kinds of great things that are collected through this program. And then given after early December, then our agencies actually deliver these items to the local families in need here in the Riverbend area.
Well, and just to kind of add to it, when I just mentioning Riverbend CEO kind of brought this to my, the forefront of the mind is whenever I started the delivery business, there's that, naiveness that there's a community doesn't really go through as many struggles as one might think, but all of a sudden it took a couple of jobs to realize that there are people that need these resources that really could utilize so much of United Way's mission, and you guys really doing this with Community Christmas helps so much. And a statistic I wanted to point out is United Way and the partners with you guys help 1 in 3 people right here in the St. Louis region. I mean, that's a staggering number.
Yeah.
It's a number that it makes you smile knowing, wow, we're helping that many people each and every year. I mean, that's something that's really, really special. And to wrap this up, I think it segues itself perfectly into ways we can help support your guys' mission, whether it's a, volunteer, wanting to, help out and volunteer for a few events, or maybe if you have the opportunity to give so in a financial backing, how are ways we can help United Way's mission? And if it's okay, Steve, can I start off with you with your, past support and leading to this role? You know something a little bit about this.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, right? A variety of different ways that people can contribute, and I think in some cases, really how I got started.
Yeah.
As I was going back through this, I'm like, okay, kind of how'd you get started with this giving to United Way? And I can really remember early on, as my dad, a member of a big industry here in town, contributing through his payroll deduction at work.
Right.
And talking about it, right? It was one of those things he didn't really brag about, but I remember the conversations. And so as I joined companies, started my career, these companies also had these United Way campaigns that would allow you to donate through payroll deduction. So that was kind of my entry into this. But there's so many other ways, and don't want people to think that, right? I mean, you get a lot of big splash about big campaigns and those types of things. Certainly important, okay?
True.
Certainly important.
True.
But you know what? If you're given $5, $10, $15, every little bit helps.
It really does.
And you can do that by going on to our website, helpingpeople.org. Helpingpeople.org. How about it?
That was impressive.
Did you
that was impressive. No notes needed, folks. No notes needed. And Karen, what are some other ways, just to summarize what Steve was just mentioning there with ways we can support? Is there a phone number or an access line that maybe people can use for frequently asked questions or any type of information like that?
Our website of helpingpeople.org is a wonderful place to start because it provides so much information about the United Way and ways to give. And then, another ways to get involved and help is to remember and spread the word about our 211 helpline. 211helps.org is a website that provides lots of resources. And then just to remember, if you want to get involved, you can go back to the stlvolunteer.org. So sharing that and spreading the word. And then if you would love, we're so thankful for all of our corporate partnerships as well as the individuals that give to United Way. And so thank you, all the United Way supporters.
Absolutely. And I can't thank you guys enough. This was a great conversation. I told them, I said, 10, 15 minutes. We talked for a little bit longer than that, but anytime we can talk about the great missions that United Way accomplishes each and every day of the week, I will always be happy to do so. And I have an idea. I think we do a Christmas in July remote broadcast. I think I have to call the Freers.
There you go.
There we
Great
go.
idea.
I just throw it on all of us, right there on the air. Why not? Throw it out there. 9:42 on this 8th day of March. Steve, Karen, thank you for your time. We'll be back with more of our daily show right after this in the heart of the Riverbend.